I'm joined again by Sri Lankan cricket expert and career diplomat Aruna. Did you see enough in the first test to think that Sri Lanka have got a chance of squaring the series at Lord's second test?
Yes, very much so. I thought that Sri Lanka exceeded expectations at Old Trafford. I mean, considering that they'd had, just one warm-up match, dealing with very, cold, unseasonable weather. They were able to put up a really good fight, I felt, and ran England, quite close in the test. Coming to London, where the weather will be warmer, and Sri Lanka has a very good record. They haven't lost a test in London since 1991.
Hold on, they haven't
Their
lost a
confidence is
test.
high.
Let me just interrupt. So we're saying Sri Lanka haven't lost a test at either Lords or the Oval since 1991.
That's correct. Yeah, they won at the Oval in '98, and I think they've had five draws at Lords in the last 20, 30 years. So they do have a very good record in London, and I think they are full of confidence now. And I think they will also have a stronger batting lineup. I'm assuming that Pathum Nissanka will come in, and he's been a very successful white ball player, and he most likely will replace Madushka at the top of the order.
And then the top order, was disappointed, didn't they, at Lords? And it took the lower order to really make a real statement. In particular, the century from Kamindu Mendes, who's another one who we always considered a white ball player, but he looked a real test quality bat.
Yes, I think he was the biggest sort of positive for Sri Lanka. At the Old Trafford Test, he batted extremely well, and now he's averaging second only to Don Bradman for batsmen who've scored over 500 runs in Test cricket, something like 92. And so I think he's been a real find for Sri Lanka.
He's best known as being ambidextrous bowler, but he really showed his batting skills. And I would go with him again to be top scorer in the first innings of Lords. That's Kamindu Mendes. Looking at England, I mean, England's performance, it owes a lot. The victory owed a lot to Joe Root. He described his innings as ugly runs. He channeled his inner Nasser Hussain. He said,
right.
It wasn't Bazball, was it?
No, hardly. That fourth day was a bit of a slow burner, really, but it was effective. England needed to buckle down. They were in a bit of trouble. When Joe Root came in, I think he really sort of knuckled down and played the sort of Test cricket the old-fashioned way, and it ended up being, of course, a 5-wicket victory.
I mean, you spoke last time about Joe Root's record against Sri Lanka. It's so good.
Right.
But I have to go for him again as top. I think we have to go for him as potentially top scorer for England. Would you disagree with that?
No, I agree with both Kamindu Mendes and Joe Root as being the likely top scorers at Lords as well.
And then you've got England's bowlers. Mark Wood is out injured. So it's another, right. It's Ollie Stone called back into the side after 3-year absence injury. Quite quick bowler, but it's asking a lot of him, to hit the ground running. So there's no Mark Wood, of course. Ben Stokes is still not available. So Ollie Pope captains again. But the bowling just may look a bit on the thin side because you're asking a lot of Ollie Stone. I suppose of all the England bowlers, which one impressed you the most, in the last test?
Well, I think Chris Woakes was probably the best bowler on show, and he's likely to continue that at Lords. He has a phenomenal record in England. I mean, his Test average is, I think, in the low 20s, and he's a very good bowler in home conditions.
He's taken over from Jimmy Anderson, hasn't he, as the opening bowler who swings it a lot.
No, that's right. No, I think he's also been very effective with the bat. So he's a good all-round package, and I expect to see him do well again at Lords.
Because Gus Atkinson, who made that phenomenal debut, he'll be leading the attack, and I think he's got a good chance of being leading wicket taker in the first innings for England. But Woakes is the other contender, really, isn't it? It's between Woakes and Atkinson. Or would you, Sri Lanka are so good at spin and playing spin that it's
right.
quite a tough assignment for Bashir in the second innings. The Sri Lankan batsmen really started to play aggressively against Bashir, didn't they?
Yeah, no, I agree. I think Bashir did very well against the West Indies, but I think Sri Lanka, the batsmen tend to be, more well versed at playing spin. So I think, yeah, for England it'll be Atkinson and Wokes, to be the likely leading bowlers, I believe. Although I think that with Potts and Stone, with less experience, I think that's where Sri Lanka might cash in a bit. If they can get through Wokes and Atkinson. But it'll be a good battle. I think.
I mean, that's the key thing. If they can get through the first few overs, it was a nightmare start for them in the first test. They were 6 for 3. How did you feel at that point, Aruna? Did you think?
Well, to be honest, I was very pessimistic when when they lost those early wickets. But somehow the middle order sort of pulled through, and I think, of course, Angelo Matthews played that very sort of typical, sort of stubborn innings first time out. And then, of course, Milan Ratnayaka made the highest ever score for a number 9 debut. Yeah, he made 74, I think. And he's pretty much sealed his place, I think, in the side as well with that batting performance. He also bowled well in the second innings. But Sri Lanka, I think that they're looking at Lahira Kumara possibly coming in. But I think given how well Ratnayaka, batted, and it'll be hard to dislodge him.
Hard to dislodge.
Yeah. And the only one whose place might be in danger is Vishwa Fernando, who wasn't as effective, but he does bring in that left arm angle. So, they might give him another go. But otherwise, Sri Lanka will be unchanged. I think, as I said, in the batting, Pathum Nissanka is likely to come in. But on the bowling,
the excitement is building. It's going to be Sri Lankan conditions in terms of the weather. We're promised some really decent weather for this Lord's Test. So, yeah, I think this could be the one at Lord's that every team seems to raise their game at the home of cricket at Lord's. And for Sri Lanka, it would mean a hell of a lot, wouldn't it, to win this second Test?
Oh, it would. It would set up the series nicely for a decider at the Oval. So I think, Sri Lankan fans and I think most neutral fans would also, prefer that outcome. So let's hope for a close contest and, a good game of cricket.
Thanks, Aruna. We'll speak soon.
Sure. All right, then. Thanks, David. All the best. Bye-bye.